Well, good afternoon, tubers, tuberettes, motorcycle enthusiasts, motorcycle haters. I don't care, whoever the hell is watching this thing. Just winding things down here on a Sunday afternoon. Didn't get everything done I wanted to get done, but while it was all apart, one thing I found. This is the oil filter mount for the FXR. And this fitting right here was loose. This is the fitting that comes from the oil pump, or in this case the aftermarket oil cooler. Sends the oil into the filter here, through the filter back out here, and this nipple goes up to the tank. Well, not the nipple, but the hose that connects to this nipple goes up to the tank. And believe me, this was not this clean when I took it out. It was unrecognizable. So now, how did this fitting come loose? Don't know. I suspect the person who put the aftermarket oil cooler in probably had something to do with it. The good thing is the pressure here isn't that high. It's just, 2, 3, 4 psi. It's pretty low. Might not even be that high. Yeah, it's probably that high when it's cold and it's got the restriction in the oil filter. The reason I did this was twofold. One, there was a small leak there. And two, it's a lot easier to do with the starter out. Well, actually, it's possible to do with the starter. It's impossible to do with the starter in place. Well, it may not be. Maybe if you took the rear wheel off, you might be able to get at this nut. But it's pretty tight in there. That's the nut that goes through the back of the transmission casting that holds this up in there. And it's a piece of cake to do with everything taken apart. And there was a slight leak, and I suspect it was this. The one thing I found that was pretty funny was the oil filter was on here so tight. It was a K&N filter which has a hex on the bottom. It's, what size is it? I think it's metric. It's not 5/8 and it's not 11/16. It's something in between, but whatever the hell that size is. I had a socket on there and flattened that nut trying to get it off, so I would have had to take this thing out anyway to get that oil filter off. I ended up chucking this up in the vise and putting the old strap wrench on, and it took some tugging and pulling to get it off. I mean, it was tight, and I suspect the reason it was tight was because it was leaking, and the previous owner or owners decided that, well, maybe the oil filter's loose, so they just tightened it up. Well, no, after you do that a couple times, you should kind of come to the conclusion that it's more than just a loose oil filter. In other news, this is the first video I've done with the camera on a tripod, and it's also the first video I've done with a whopping huge 2 GB SD card, which gives me, I don't know, 8-9 minutes of video. Not much. So that's kind of a major breakthrough. I didn't get everything done that I wanted to get done. The other problem was I replaced the stator for the charging system, and it's got a different thickness than the one that was on there had. So I had to order some shims, because you have to align the sprocket on the engine to the sprocket on the transmission. And I went through all that and determined that the front was out of line with the rear by about 30 thousandths. So I had to get some shims on order to set that right. I didn't even try the Harley dealer. I'm sure they wouldn't have had one, and if they did, it's $5 each, and I have no idea what size I need, and I wasn't going to buy 3 or 4 just to try it and determine which side I need, and then go through the aggravation of bringing back the ones I don't want, even if they'd take them back. So again, I opened up the McMaster Car catalog, or McMaster Car webpage, and ordered the parts I needed through there, and they'll be here probably Tuesday based on experience. Let's see. Clutch is ready to go back in. Outer primary case is ready to go back in, except for the plug for the drain. I have a new one of those in one of these boxes of parts someplace. And I guess that's about it. It wasn't a great weekend, but it wasn't a bad weekend either. I've kind of grown accustomed to finding I need another part that you can't get without ordering it. Even if you go to the Harley dealer, more often than not they don't have the parts either, and then it takes even longer. If you go up there on a Friday or a Saturday, you tell them what you need, they order on Tuesday, and if you're lucky they'll get it by the end of the week. But that doesn't always happen, so screw it. Just order the other parts from McMaster Car and make do with those. And I think that's going to wrap it up for this week. Nothing much too exciting going on other than that. Did a little cleaning up out here and putting some tools away and de-rusting and oiling some tools I was using a couple weeks ago to repair the invisible fence. They were all full of dirt and crap from that job, so while I was cleaning up and putting things away, I wiped those down and oiled them. So that's it. That's it for this weekend. Time to have an adult beverage and go shower up. See you later, guys.